It's a beautiful day here in the studio, and of course, we are back here for more updates for you. You are welcome to News Trend. Okay, so we have a lot of gist and updates for you today, but before we get into it, join me in welcoming my co-host and guest. It's two titles in one. Mr. Dotun Oladipo. Today I'm calling his name just in case you have forgotten his name. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you for having me again.
Yes, thank you for always being here. Okay, so like I said, we have lots of updates for you today. And when I say updates, I'm sure that you must have heard or seen the video somewhere about the death of the special advisor to the Delta State Governor on Trade and Exports, Chief Chimete Love. And allegedly, she was killed by her pastor husband. So the killed is alleged, the pastor is alleged. Because we hear that this one is not affiliated to any ministry whatsoever, to any, he doesn't go to any church, and nobody can say, oh, he's a member of my church, he's a pastor in my church. But so far, we have heard that he's our own pastor. Apparently, he's a pastor to her. And how did these people meet, you would ask? And then what's the circumstances surrounding her death? That's all that we're going to be talking about today. Although we don't know the cause of death yet because an autopsy is yet to be performed. But the circumstances of their meeting, of their marriage is very questionable. It's very, very questionable because we hear that this woman was previously married and this man was just a spiritual mentor or someone who she goes to for spiritual cleansing, miracles and all that, because I feel because she's in government, because she's in politics, and it's not easy for women in politics. We all know that. So she must have been looking for some kind of fortification or strength to be able to, withstand with all whatever comes for her. But surprisingly, this thing took a different turn. We heard that her husband does not stay in the country. He decided to leave Nigeria and go to stay abroad. But because of the politics that she's into, she didn't go with him. She stayed back here with the pastor, spiritual advisor, who turned from a spiritual advisor to a husband. A lot of people are still confused about how that got to happen, because they only know that, okay, he's a spiritual advisor and she goes to him for spiritual, but he somehow took over her life. And we're going to be discussing that today. And just in case you have not heard, she's also a sister. She was a sister to Agatha Amata. I'm sure we know Agatha Amata, the producer, director, or whatnot. So
Our own Agatha.
Our very own Agatha, the ex-wife of Fred Amata. I'm sure you know who Fred Amata is. So you can see that it's quite close to home. So where do we start from, sir?
Well, the gist is what we need to start from. So maybe we start from the beginning, which is what we were told about how they met. That is talking about Pastor
Favor Love. Sorry, I forgot to tell you his name.
And the chief, Mrs. Chimete Love.
Yes.
So, if you are not careful, it is one of these dangerous ends that you are going to end up. Because in the first place, if indeed government is clean or governance is clean, why do you need a spiritual father? When you can pray for yourself, when you can pray by yourself, when you can read your Bible, when you can communicate with God. But obviously, she got to a point where she felt she needed that spiritual backing. But from what we have learned and what we have seen, this one has no known church to which she is affiliated.
Exactly.
There are so many dangerous things that are coming up that the police will need to look into. In the first place, when I saw his name, the first question I asked myself was, well, how did the Nigerian find this combination of names?
True.
How did he get to this point of 3 foreign names with biblical linkage. Yeah, Mr. Favor, Mr. Love, and I don't know whose surname is Love in this country. And then information from the media space, whichever way you decide to call it, whether it is social media or the traditional media, is the fact that this man has two
Other
different names.
Exactly.
Number one, he says Kole Ogunlesi. You know. And then the second one is where he's likely to be Kunle James.
Yes.
But what you are saying is, and categorically so, is that it's a Yoruba man. And I've not seen any Yoruba man who bears a combination of those kind of names. Some are saying it's from Kwara State. I don't know. Yeah. We've not established that. The police will help us to establish it. Where is it coming from? So, and the part the family complained about was the fact that this one was allegedly living off her.
Yes.
He was allegedly living off her. Some went to the extent of saying that he has taken over her life completely, alienated her children from her, taking over her properties. So the police will need to look into that. If indeed, from all her documents bearing Shimete Bello, it has been changed to Favor Love. Because they said there is a house in Abuja that the woman owns. He has taken it over. The one, or the property also in Delta, he has taken them over. And alienated the family, including the children from her. You know?
You just wonder how it gets to this level. How do the women get so blinded?
Or
become so vulnerable that they let, men of such...
No, it's not just men of such. It's not just men of such. It is the fact that a lot of women, and even some men also, they are emotionally weak, emotionally susceptible to all of these manipulations. And where you have a man who, from the onset in going into a relationship, knows his targets, that is to manipulate and get material things out of a relationship. They know how to
play the game.
How to play the game, how to work on such weaknesses. In fact, some are suggesting that if the police can look properly, that they will find elements of blackmail in this death. That's what they are suggesting. That they are likely, and this suspicion was heightened by even the man, that when this lady died and they called the police, they came to the scene and the family members arrived, that what they saw him doing, a man who has allegedly just lost his wife, was deleting messages from her phone. And so they are suggesting, and this is an area where the police must look into, that there could possibly be videos of the woman in certain compromising positions that he could be using to blackmail her. And you know what it means for somebody of such position, for videos that are sex related, where she is, to be thrown into the public space. That's what they are suggesting, element of blackmail.
Can it be so bad that she will kill herself? Someone of that standing.
Yes.
To kill herself.
No.
But we've seen several of these things happen, and after a while they die down. And then for a kind of position in politics, she should have other people that she can just, run to, or someone that, even if it's one person that, this is what I'm facing, someone that can counter. I don't know. I just feel like there should have been somebody.
When you see a desperate person who doesn't mind the consequences, you'll be scared yourself.
Wow.
You'll be scared. Imagine somebody at that level. We are not talking about just ordinary people.
Exactly.
And we are talking of videos that people suggested was actually done by the man, meaning that her face will show, it will be close up, showing her naked, having sex. Remember that we are not in the country of the man who had over 400 sex tapes on his.
But sex is actually not a crime after
It's
all.
not a crime,
I don't
but
understand.
it brings some sort of shame. Imagine yourself, perhaps in the heat of the moment, when your lover is able to convince you, let's have a threesome. And the lover picks the phone and he's not featuring and is showing you and somebody else.
At that point, don't you see that your lover is doing that?
You will see.
Okay.
But don't forget also that that's why we said women are emotionally weak. She could have consented to it at that point. Yes. You can't take it away. You can't take it away. We are not talking of somebody who is a stranger to you now. We are talking of somebody who is married to you, with whom you share affiliation, affection, and all the rest. And that's why I said the more people, whether male or female, must be emotionally intelligent.
Exactly.
You can't afford to let down your guard.
Exactly. That's the word.
You can't afford to do so. You can't. And then you cut at every point in your life to have somebody you listen to. Because if indeed she had listened to family members, because they said that the first sign that they saw was the fact that even the marriage that they had, it contributed nothing. It was the lady's brother and some other people who rallied down to put that marriage together.
Okay, so that is even
finance-wise.
That's a problem for me, because I'm wondering why. Why? One, she's been married before, and then if you now decide that you want to marry your spiritual father, why should finances be a problem? Because it's like you are desperate for the marriage. Why don't you leave it be, and then see when you have the money to have the wedding? Like, why did you have to go through so much trouble to get married to this particular person?
Because the spiritual father is bringing spirituality to the marriage and not funds. Don't forget how they met.
If he's so spiritually powerful, why does he not have the funds?
Well, don't forget also that in our part of the country, and I'm sure in other parts of the country, that saying that they have, that you can judge somebody who says he wants to better your life by the kind of clothes and appearance
exactly.
does not apply to some people when they have been hoodwinked. Because that's the issue now.
Because normally it should, if
that's
you
the
are
issue. You have when somebody, even if that man is as rich as the richest pastor in the world, you won't expect that when he comes to pray for you, you will still not say, take money for fuel. So that's where it's an exchange. So you want to believe that when the man shows up in big suit, you don't know whether he rented the suit to come and pray for you, to come and pray for you. You don't know whether the car that brought him, he went to secure it, knowing that when he's going, you will give him some money, he'll be able to settle all of those people. You don't know until when the person gets into you and something goes wrong. That's the only time you realize that this is all fraud. So, but like you said, and which I still advocate, people should be sensitive when they are entering into relationships like that. They should not make it look like it's very spiritual, so it will take me to where I want to go. Completely. It's not even about the pastor only now. Even people that you move with. We've had stories of women who killed their husband over lovers. We've had stories of men who abandoned their homes over younger girls. Or even older ones.
As the case may be.
As the case may be. They do a lot of things happen when people claim they are in love. Because they are not able to
think clearly.
No, separate the wrong from the right. They are unable to. And like they say in our part of the world, it is what you know how to eat that will eventually kill you.
Yes, no.
So, and this is not actually in the serious sense of it, the first that will happen.
No, and it will not be the last,
And it's
unfortunately.
not likely to be the last. I'm sure you recall that far back in 2013, a woman was arrested in Edo State along with her spiritual father. Let me.
All the spiritual fathers.
Yes, 2013. One, please pardon me if you are from Akwa Ibom. Mrs. Enebong Isonguyo. And our pastor, identified as Udoka Ukachukwu, were arrested for the murder of the woman's husband, engineer Victor Gribel Isonguyo. 2013. And theirs was even a very sorry case. Because this man works in Abuja. He comes home to meet the wife. They had a home, beautiful one at that, in Benin. Bit by bit, the pastor also started getting into her. And really getting into her. That she became pregnant.
Oh, wow. He really got into her.
He got seriously into her. She became pregnant. And gradually also, as he was doing that, he was taking over the man's property. Changing the names on the property.
While she was still married.
Yes.
To the man. Wow.
And then when it became evident that this man was going to see a protruding tummy that he did not plant, the man was eliminated. The two of them were initially sentenced to death. The woman was freed later. They were sentenced in 2018, 7 years after or so. After spending about that long, she was set free. Because obviously, there had been a plea for her cause that she was not in the know that the pastor was going to kill the husband. Because what happened was, the man was stabbed in his own car and set ablaze.
Kind of death.
And set ablaze. So perhaps our lawyers have been able to convince the judges and the courts along the line that she wasn't in the know about killing the man. But of course, she defaulted by being married and getting pregnant for somebody else. Which no law is against. Because she didn't marry the man. It is only when you are married to...
True.
You know, getting pregnant for another person is not what you can go to court to go and prove. So, that's another case. And that's why the point you made in the first place is right, that people who go into government and start looking for powers, whether it is from the church, it is from the mosque, it is from traditionalists, we need to watch them. Because...
And I think our own case is even peculiar because, you know, politics, we know it's a difficult game. It's not it's not for the weak. Let me put it that way. It's not for the weak.
It's not.
Even for the men that are there. So imagine a woman, you know, coming into politics and then going that far. You can imagine that she would have a lot of woes and a lot of people who don't want her to be there, a lot of people who are trying to bring her down because they don't want, you know, women to keep climbing that high. I don't know why, you know, women have not been fully accepted in governance like that. So I think that's a problem. So maybe she was just trying to stay afloat, or I wouldn't know why she would do.
Yes,
because she did say something in his defense that since she met him, her spiritual problems
disappeared.
Yes. You know. So
I agree with you.
With her. You know, so maybe you know, when you think about it in hindsight, I'm thinking that, you know, maybe she didn't even have the spiritual problems in the first place. Maybe he was the one making her feel like she had the spiritual problems. And then he's also the one that will always tell her that you don't have problems. Because we hear from the reports that we had that there was a time that he told her that she had so many demons following her and all that,
Yes.
and that they went to
Yes.
7 local governments
Yes, to go and pray.
to go and pour holy water.
Yes.
Each one, they'll get to this one, get down, pour water. Imagine 7 different local governments in Delta State because of spiritual.
Though they can be very nearby
And
local
every
governments.
time you get there, you say, yes, that's one of the, you know, it's like a movie. And then you wonder that, are people really this gullible? Like, people really.
I want to believe that what you accept is what you are going to become. What you say to yourself all of the time is what you are going to turn out to be. Because if you tell me that some demons are chasing you, what you have done is that the person you are inviting in to help you to chase those demons, we pray on them. Pray on the fact that PREY will see that that is your weakness.
Exactly.
And that is your belief. And then work on it. It's just like the men too.
True.
Who believe that they can go somewhere, put some concoctions together and use it against fellow men in politics to gain an upper hand or advantage. I believe that everything, like the Bible and the Quran said, even the traditionalists needs prayer. Everything needs prayer. But it is not going to the extent of somebody now praying on your weakness to milk you dry. It is not. It's even the spiritual side that is worrisome. We've read stories of, like I said, younger men who took advantage of women like that because they believe that they want it hot. And the older men also do it too. We have men who are older and they have fleeced younger ladies. Big time. Because the first time they show up, they are the ones who will do the spending. Then one day they will come and say, this contract that I'm doing, hey, if not that I don't have money, I would have done it. And the ladies feels like, okay, this man gave me 20 million the last time. He needs 80 million to execute a contract. And then the man disappears.
There again.
Why are we not always sensitive? That's what it needs. Sensitivity.
Yeah.
And if we are not careful, like I've said, that is what is going to drive our politics continuously. People going into secret cults in order to believe, in order to overcome so-called spiritual problems from opponents.
My question is, if your purpose of getting into politics is to serve the people, why? Why for the life of me? Why do you need fortification? Because I would think that, it now begs the question that, is there something else that is happening in politics? Is there some kind of reward they are getting aside from the ones that, it's in their propaganda or whatever? Because if your purpose is to come and serve the people, I don't see why people should be trying to do stuff to each other to get there. Because if you actually get there, you are coming there to serve. You are coming there to give, not to get. So except you are telling me now that, there's more getting than giving.
If everybody who has gone into government in this country had gone there to give, we'll have a better country. No doubt about it. What people do is to use political offices to amass wealth. That's basically what we do in this country. Basically, I can tell you that 99% of politicians, that's their aim. We've seen only a few that people will have pointed and said, okay, this man was different when he was in office. We've seen a few, especially at the higher level, maybe the governorship and maybe federal lawmakers. We've seen only a few. People go there to acquire wealth. That's what they do. So anything that threatens them, in fact, even without anything threatening them, they will look for fortification. We've had in this country now, some past presidents brought in spiritualists from outside the country to pay for them, and they were paying them handsomely, kept them in Abuja. Yeah, even from outside the country, not They did not domesticate the spending on spirituality. They internationalized it.
Wow.
So it's a sore point in our story as a country, where people say, I want to serve, but we are the ones serving them. We are the ones serving them. Some will say God called me into ministry, because I just remember another story that broke this past day, which was about 24, 48 hours ago, of a man who claimed to be a pastor in Akwa Ibom State. He was just identified as Pastor Enoch of Omega International Ministries. Who said God called him and still went to a traditional practitioner. And he was told, according to those who handed him over to the police, that he needed to make a sacrifice. Woman won. In order for the church God called him to head to grow. He didn't go back to God again, who he claimed called him. Rather, he went to a traditionalist who said he must kill his wife. And he did kill the woman. He did kill the woman. Yes, the police has not spoken about it, but we've seen that they've gone to where all of those things happened, and he's been arrested. So people resort to self-help in these things. I don't see why our politics has gone down that way. And some other things like our churches. This is not the first time that we were told that a man of God killed or buried certain things,
animals, and
in order for the church to grow. If indeed God called you, if indeed you are going into politics to go and serve, why do you need those things? Why do you need the fortification? Why? It's virtually in all spheres. Virtually in businesses. I once had a friend who abandoned his life in the United Kingdom to come and help a company in Nigeria to grow. He ran back after about 6 months. Because he says when he gets to the office, they would have poured certain substances on his chair. He will get there, he will see sacrifice inside his office. No, it's not a one-man company, it's not it's a big company. I won't mention the name. Occupying acres of land. And in this Lagos state. That the last thing he saw before he didn't wait to pick anything from that office was a python in the office. He said he did not even enter, he just ran back and took off from the country. Why? They brought somebody who had contributed immensely to development of the United Kingdom to come and use part of his expertise to help our country. And that's how he had to live. So it's a big problem that we need to address. And for women in politics,
yes, women in politics,
they really, really need to weigh their options before going in. They need to.
What do you mean by that?
Good. If you are not sure of what you want to achieve and how you want to achieve it, then don't dabble into it. A lot of women have lost their marriages, they have lost their families to politics. Yet we have seen women in other climes. We've seen our Margaret Chacha, late now. But she had a solid husband beside her. We've seen other people also. And that's why women are denigrated the moment they go into politics. They believe she's sleeping with somebody. They believe she must be paying obeisance somewhere. Why will we engage in all-night meetings when we can discuss in the open? Why will politicians always do that and they expect the women to attend? Abandoning their families and husbands. Even the men, why would they abandon their families? Is politics a full-time job? Is governance a full-time job? Is it not about serving the people? Because the moment you get into politics, they create this impression that you don't have any other life. I don't know if that's the way it works in other countries, but we see presidents of other countries go on holiday with their families.
Yes.
They go skiing, they go hiking, they go to places where they enjoy themselves. The kind of things that I've seen women complain about and are subjected to in my years of covering politics in Nigeria, they are worrisome. Very, very worrisome. For you to climb as a woman in politics in Nigeria is tough. We did a series here in the Eagle Online about women recounting their experiences being on the political terrain that we consider in Nigeria erroneously to be a man's stuff.
It is considered a man. Exactly.
That is wrong.
Very wrong.
Other countries are producing presidents now who are women. But we make our own political scene look like it is a man's world. If you can't abandon your family, that's not politics. That is something else. And that's why people begin to apply the spiritual to it. Because it is seen as a tough place that you can't survive. But that for me is wrong. Other countries are producing even presidents. And they still have a life.
Situations like this will now start making some women, step back. Like, oh, they don't want to end up this
Even
way.
without this kind of situation, even without this particular one, women are stepping back.
Yes.
When have we been talking of 35% affirmation? Have we gotten it? Go and look at the National Assembly. How many women are there? Both chambers, Senate and the House of Reps. How many women are there? Very few. And they still struggle to catch up with the men.
It's a real struggle.
Real struggle. I agree. With them when they complain. So women should get, even the men, they should make it less cumbersome for themselves. Everything should not be about
do or die.
if I can't catch up with you, I will just throw this sword from. If I catch up with you, you are dead. It's all about backbiting. It's about blackmail and all the rest. So we should be careful. Otherwise, the way our politics is running is the way it will run for life, and we'll never get better as a country. Because the small money that you get as allowance, you go and give a spiritualist. Pray for me. Let them not catch me when I steal. Let them not do this. Let them not do that. And we still subject our women to that. We don't make it better. We make it look like politics is just all about bloodshed. That's why when you go into election period, people keep dying. Women run away from campaigns because it will turn violent. You will hear that there was a problem somewhere during an electioneering. And you hear, we didn't know how the man disappeared. Meaning that the man also has consulted people so that if there is a problem, let me disappear.
Yes.
And like I said, in this country, we've read stories of presidents who are brought in marabouts, praying for them back to back every minute of the day, 24/7. When did we get to this level of governance?
Wow.
When did we?
And it's surprising that it's not like the country has gotten better this person.
Will it ever get better?
It will get better one day.
No. With somebody like Shemite, who died now, who has ideas. Did you hear where she is?
Yeah.
A terrain that people hardly want to step into trade. And we have some key women in this government of President Tinubu who are Dr. Jumoke, who is minister. Oduwole is there. We have so many people around. Even the person who is handling, looking at all the ministries, seeing how they are performing, the former managing director of the MPA, is also there doing very critical jobs. If those people are being chased around by all these spiritual problems, how will we get better when they can look at issues for us? Our own Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, he has gone from being Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy to go to the World Trade Organization as Director General. She's serving a second term. Adiza Bala Usman, who was former MD of Nigeria Post Authority, is doing a great job now in this government, looking at the performance of our ministers and other appointees. We've had great women in government. If we keep chasing them with this spirituality, will they even have the confidence to come in?
They won't.
If they can't enter into their office and know that somebody has not planted a snake to scare them, how do we get them into governance? And those are not easy terrains. They're not easy terrains. We've had women we have chased out of politics because we believe that as men, we have capacity over them. We have this ability to determine their fate.
Well, exactly.
We should let these people breathe so that they don't go and fall into the hands of wrong people.
Yes.
Like Shimite did.
Literally.
Seriously. I'm not saying he killed her.
Yeah, we will find out.
The police will find that out. But in the first place, according to what we have read and what we have heard, that they are coming together was a result of the protection she wanted spiritually, because she wouldn't have gone that route if not for it. Whatever transpired outside of that is left for the police to deal with. But in terms of what even brought them close, it was this, come and save me from this man's world and from government that I want to serve. Because it's service, like you said, and not self-acquisition and aggrandizement.
Exactly.
It's service. I wish her sweet rest in the bosom of the Lord. That's what we can wish her at this stage.
I hope she's
And I wish her justice.
Yes, justice.
If there is more to her death, I wish her justice.
There has to be
because
more,
we are going to probe it. We are going to follow this story until the end.
Yes.
Every bit of information that we're able to scoop going forward, we are going to bring it to the public.
Because I'm thinking that even if she killed herself, there must have been something.
A reason for it, yes. But don't forget, because we shouldn't lose sight of all of these things. The law does not understand the fact that because this man threatened me, I killed myself. The law doesn't understand it. And you recollect the attempt by some people to tie Mohbad's death to Naira Marley and Sam Larry. It failed.
Yes. Because
of that. Because the law does not understand that. The law does not understand juju.
True.
So, we must be very careful. So, I wish her justice if anything foul happened.
I hope
I wish her
too.
justice.
So, we'll be back to give you more updates on this matter. Like we said, it is not over.
It is
over.
We'll
inform you on the results of the autopsy, and as the case moves forward, we'll definitely be back here to give you the updates that you require. And that's all we have for you today. Don't forget to like and share this video, and also subscribe so that you get notifications when we come with new updates for you. And follow us on all our social media handles at The Eagle Online. On our bio. Yes, our handles are on our bio. So check our bio and follow us so that you keep getting more updates. We'll see you next time.